So no way you could know all the works of the Maharal. I'm going to give you one view. We're going to look through this. You're going to look through his glasses, and you're going to remember this point, and you'll come home with something very deep. So you see over there, that's a verse coming up, very timely subject, a Passover. So the verse there says, Ushmartem et hamatzos. You should be vigilant regarding the matzos. So matzos, it's spelled very similar to another phrase, which is mitzvos. So look at the Rashi. This is Rashi's commentary. Rashi says, don't read et hamatzos, don't read the matzos, rather et hamitzvos. It's talking about mitzvos. And, listen in, just as we are quick and we don't let the matzos become chametz, we don't let the matzos rise, so too you should not let a leavening of the mitzvos, don't make the mitzvos into chametz. Rather, when you get a chance to do it right away. Okay, so I'm going to say this to you straight as if you can understand it. It says, watch the matzos, but it spells, says the oral law, it spells matzos just the same way it spells mitzvos. And says the oral law because there's a secret underneath it. It's saying just like you can't let the dough rise for the matzah, don't let the dough rise for the mitzvah. Don't make the mitzvah chametz. So you have the written law, and the oral law looks at the spelling and says, it doesn't just mean matzah, it means mitzvahs. Says the Maharal, I don't understand. I have no idea what that means. Okay, I see the spelling. It says matzos. It looks like mitzvos. Interesting point. But says the oral law, just like you can't allow the matzah to become chametz, don't let the mitzvah rise, don't let it rise slowly, and do it right away. Ask the Maharal in a very strong language, what? You can't just throw something in cute that has no relevancy to the verse. We're talking about bread, flat, dry, cracker-like bread. That's a concept, that's a food. Mitzvot are the commandments or the actions that you do. What does mitzvah have to do with food? And what does it mean? Hey, you're doing that mitzvah? Don't let it become chametz. What on earth does that mean? Now, here's the Maharal's concept, which I'm going to give you the secret. And it can't be disconnected. Because if the world is one and the Torah is one, it all has to connect. It all has to be one. So what does matzah have to do with mitzvahs? That's the Maharal's question on the oral law explaining the written law. You guys have any questions on that before I give you the answer? So he wants to know, how do these two things that look divergent really run on the same axiom? So I'm going to share with you what he says. He says the following concept, that matzah, what's going on with matzah? I don't like it. Some people are like, I have matzah all the time. Yeah, it's like a cracker. I love it. Give me a piece of matzah. We all have people like that. It's fine. Some people like celery soda. It's fine. Non-discriminatory. But, matzah? I don't understand. Because we left Egypt in a hurry, and the matzah did not have time to rise, so it was very flat, and that's why 3,000 years later, we're eating matzah. Okay, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and it was a rush. Didn't get a chance to rise, but we're here now. Let's let the bread rise, okay? My grandparents, or older family members, I'm like, I personally, all due respect to tuna fish, don't like tuna fish. Can't eat it, nothing with mayonnaise, I don't know, it's a solid, a liquid, can't get near the thing. So, what are you going to do? What if you're on a desert island and you have nothing to eat? You're going to have to eat tuna fish. There are people starving in India, they have nothing. I feel bad for people starving in India. And if I do wind up on a desert island, which I don't think is such a bad thing per se, if I do wind up on a desert island, I will maybe get used to the tuna fish. So you Jews, you left Egypt, matzah couldn't rise, sorry to hear that. Now you're out of Egypt, let the matzah rise. What relevancy why is everybody here in this room going to be on a certain night coming up in 2 weeks eating crackers? Why? Why are you eating crackers? So the concept is that everybody in this room is a Jew. You're a Jew. So what does Jew mean? Where did Jews come from? Do we really all come from Eastern Europe? Like the Iranians say, oh, you guys just came from Eastern Europe and kicked these Palestinians out. Like, excuse me, half the population in Israel are actually Sephardic. And they were not ever in Eastern Europe. They're Morocco, Iraq, Egypt, Lebanon. So like, get your history straight and call me back. Like we're not just like, what does it mean Jew, Eastern European people, worrisome people, like nervous people, like what do we, like have a heritage of anxiety? Who are we? We are people that were slaves in Egypt, and we all left Egypt, coming up as the anniversary, to receive the Torah and to be a light unto the nation. That is the formation of our nation. We are to be a light unto the nations. We receive the Torah on Mount Sinai. Every great religion understands that the Jews received the Torah on Mount Sinai, an experience that happened with 3 million people. So, why the rush? Why God, who creates the world, could time it out so there's not a rush? The concept's like this. What's time? There are 2 aspects of the physical world. There's time and space. Time is something that's of this physical world. Our formation was not that we were once slaves in Egypt and God let us free. We're not just a bunch of slaves with shackles broken being free. Like, the concept was we were chosen as a nation to be this light unto the world. That formation is not from this world. It's not bound by the restrictions of time. Time is only in this world. But when you leave this world, when you leave this reality, so then time, as Einstein said, is relative. It's less effective when you leave this world. Time's a physical concept. Why did God make it that we left, and God made it that we did not have time to let the bread rise? It's because to show and for us to realize that this concept of a little group of people becoming this nation and becoming this monumental effect on the whole planet, that's something that's a-natural. In other words, be a sociologist all you want. There's no rational explanation for the Jews. Everybody says, Louis XIV asked one of his philosophers, like, prove to me that there's a supernatural. And his answer was 2 words, the Jews. The Jews are a proof of supernatural. We're not overtly warsome. We were little slaves in Egypt, and we left, have this clarity, and we're the most influential people on the face of the planet century after century. It's something that is not natural. It's not from this world. So we left Egypt quickly to show time is not a factor. We're above time. The concept of the food, matzah and bread, it's very similar. The only difference is time affected the bread. Because you let it rise, you gave it time, you put time into it, it blew up to this reality. We eat matzah on Passover, saying the reality of our salvation was a non-time-bound reality. It superseded, we broke the time barrier, it broke the sound barrier. Same thing with a mitzvah. Let's up the maturity level of the word mitzvah, says the Maharal. Mitzvah is not, a good deed, a point, you're a good boy. No, a mitzvah means you did a physical act that connected you higher. When you do a mitzvah, you're not just being a good person, you're connecting your body, who you are, to something higher. You are connecting to reality higher. When you get a chance to do a mitzvah and you do it slowly, you allow it to roll in your thing, like, yeah, I was in Israel, I bought this mezuzah, got it in my drawer, like, just waiting for the right time kind of to put it up. Not really sure, I got to call this rabbi, what blessings. Like, it's been in your drawer for 3 years. Like, just put it up. Like, why are you, like, what are you doing? You're taking the reality of the mitzvah, of the mezuzah, and you're just like, it's getting lost in your drawer with your keys and your credit cards and your receipts. It's just like getting all physical. So, but what should be your attitude? I have the opportunity to do a mitzvah. I'm going to do it right away. I will eliminate the boundaries of time. I'll break the time barrier. I'll put it up right away. When you have an ability to do something, we do it right away, says the Maharal. Why? Because the acts of the Jewish people, which are called mitzvot, they're something from above. And that reality from above, we have to connect to that. As I mentioned in the first sentence, the whole goal is elevation. You want to elevate yourself, connect and make it higher. So, when it comes to us, our formation of a nation, we connected and made it higher by eliminating the physical boundaries, the reality of time. Same thing with a mitzvah. When you do it, eliminate the physical boundary of time. So therefore, it comes full circle, says the Maharal. It's not two separate things. It really is one concept. When the verse said, watch the matzos, don't make the matzos chametz, it means don't make mitzvos chametz. What does matzos and mitzvos have to do with each other? They both represent a connection in this world to something higher that's beyond time. So the word matzos and mitzvos are the same. They represent connecting to something in this world that's higher, to elevate ourselves. Any questions on that piece?